Greetings everybody, welcome to G4G on YouTube. Today we're here in Marvel Duel, and I am Napalm Dawn. So, we've discussed the Black Widow update to Marvel Duel a few times here on G4G. The first video was when she dropped, and we looked at the update and everything, and then I went ahead and talked about some Black Widow deck ideas. Well, there are two different ways that you can go with Black Widow, and they don't go hand in hand. They kind of operate separately. One of the things you can do when you have Black Widow cards is you go the agent route. When you go the agent route, you're essentially banking on cloaked. And when cloak expires and you get the buff, if you have that hero option picked, where you get +4/+4 to the people around it. This is, to me, the more fun set of Widow decks out there, is when you bank off of the cloaked mechanic, because you can get a super beefy Damon Drawn if you set up your cards right, where he gets really, really jacked up. Ivan Petrovich is extremely handy in that. Recluse is a good setup for it, and then eventually you make your way over to Black Widow, who says your agents will drain or leech armor and power from characters when they are uncloaking. Ronin's Wrath is kind of handy. It sort of turns the tides. If your agents are weak, this could flip a battle right there. And then eventually you get over to Red Guardian, who helps out, and things like the Ronin Scythe, which are good for Ivan. Now, the other set of things... Oh, by the way, this Red Guardian shield is also really, really good. This Red Guardian shield on Red Guardian and Damon Drawn are super, super strong. That's one way of doing it, and honestly, that's my favorite style of doing Black Widow decks. Now, of course, if you have Ronin, that's even better. Especially with Ronin's Wrath and everything. The other style of Black Widow decks, and this is kind of interesting that a character has two very different mechanics built into its whole superhero repertoire, is the intelligence side of Black Widow. And this is the one I like a little bit less, but it's still kind of fun, and it does okay. So for the intelligence side of Black Widow, you want to go with things like Iron Maiden, because the intelligence cards that you gain against your opponents count as a non-character card. And you have things like Natasha Romanoff. You have the Red Room Training. You have the Shocky Sticks, which is... You could do the Shocky Sticks with the just kind of about any deck, because it's the first time you get a non-character card, give the equipped character +3 power. It's a good early attacker. It just means things like if you pull the, the Abomination buff or Hush Now or something like that, it can be pretty strong early on. Eileen is also pretty good for this. Mask of Disguise, Spy's Ball, Widow's Aim, Darkstar, who I just happened to pull, Fear itself, Black Widow, and eventually Disc Belt. Now, Motorcycle Escape kind of can go for either one, but really it's a little bit more for the Cloak deck. Disc Belt is also pretty handy. So when you're doing the intelligence set, essentially you want to generate as much intelligence as possible to weaken the more beefy characters on the opponent's side of the field, and then hopefully you get 2 more intelligence for a character, and then that Widow Shot Snipe comes in. So I created a deck that I like to call Intelligence Control. The control comes from references to, say, like Magic the Gathering, when they had these things called control decks. And they used to be like blue. It was about returning characters to their hands or countering them and everything. Mostly blue mana is where you would see that from. So for my Widow cards, I have the Electroshock Batons, which is really designed to be put on Iron Maiden, especially if you keep the non-character card in your hand, you get double the bonus. So if you pull down an Abomination's Might, but you're like, well, it's early, I'm fighting somebody lower than me, I don't think I'm going to lose to them, I'm going to keep it around, she gets double the bonus. She gets it from keeping it in her hand, but you pulled it, so the Electroshock Batons keep it. Red Room Training is pretty crucial because you get intelligence cards going. Natasha Romanoff is, again, pretty crucial. She's essentially a Red Room Training. Yelena is more for, because she's cloaked, she's more for an agent deck. But she does have a little bit of value here because she adds a tactics card. However, she's in too good of a slot over here with Natasha and Red Room, so she gets bounced out. And then eventually we make our way over to the Mask of Disguise, which says, for support characters, when they go to act, you reveal an intelligence card and summon a copy of the corresponding character on the battlefield and give them the agent's keyword. Trigger 4 times each battle. Now, this could kind of help in an agent deck, especially if your placement is right, but it also works in an intelligence deck. This is one of the few that kind of does double duty. You have Widow's Aim, which is once per battle, before an opponent takes an action, if you have their level 2 or higher intelligence card, deal 200 damage to them. You generally aren't going to need more than one of these. However, they're also kind of good to keep in your hand to buff up Iron Maiden if she's out there. Darkstar assembles a card on Invocation, it's intelligence. Black Widow is pretty crucial. After taking an action, if you control intelligence cards of all opponents, defeat 2 opponents with the highest. This is a little tough to get, but you can get up there. And then Dispel helps these support characters that are here, like Natasha and everything. I have Hela as a deck to get some beefy armored and health characters early on to soak some punishment. Bewitching Spell is, again, something you can kind of keep in your hand or dump out there and then eventually get rid of. Loki Scepter is just good for maybe resummoning a tank if you need it. And then Fenris is a little bit of a win condition at the end if need be. Same thing for Hela. And over on the Captain Marvel side, Carol Danvers is setting up for a little bit of a tank and damage from the Negabands. Minerva is just there for fun. Same thing for Skrull Soldiers. Moonstone is just to do a lot of damage. Again, is a little bit of the control factor. Ronan is a cast off on this one. He replaces Minerva later on. Marvel is here because there's nothing really else good in the 5 slot that I could use. And the Kree Rifle's there for damage on the support characters. Moonstones is for Hela. Or actually, no. I'm sorry, not Hela. Actually, I need to rethink that a little bit. Do I have a support who is going to do damage? No, I don't. I need to fix this Moonstones being over here. Because it used to be, you could put it on anybody who dealt skill damage, but now... I have to change that. Maybe I'll just drop in a hammer. Well, wait. Oh, no. Wait a minute. I know why it's there. It's there for Captain Marvel. I remember. Before taking an action, deal 10 damage. Yeah. Also, if you have a spare one in your hand, same thing for the Kree rifle and everything. This all counts towards Iron Maiden. You do tend to get some high hand counts in this, so you do have to watch, and you definitely wind up with a high set of tactics. Over here, you have, again, control and the Hydra bombardment, and the aim bomb. Resolute Assault is just one of my more favorite cards in the game. It just kind of keeps you in it while you're setting up. Grenade Launcher is damage. Rallying Cry is to try and build some cards. Silver Sword is for the attack characters. And Hyperion is just basically there, again, to control flow a little bit by, if he gets killed, you're just flooding your side of the field. Escape the Void kind of helps, and Mad-Driven Bomb is essentially useless, so that's why I didn't pick it. So, before we go and show you what the deck is like, I do want to say that for this video, down in the comment section and everything, focus on the Marvel Duel related stuff, not anything related to Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux, as there is a update video out there on what is happening with MAAR, and nothing has changed about that quite yet. I also wanted to say that there will probably be a little bit of a clue somewhere in this video as to what a surprise future announcement might be for the channel to I'll hopefully do sometime before Christmas. Could be related to Redux, could be related to another game I cover, could be related to something personally, but hopefully I'll have a nice little surprise video before Christmas. So Skildo is Skill Damage Widow. This is my cloaked deck, and this is how I implement it. And Intelligence is the one I'll be taking on the field. Summoner Heaven is a bit of a prep deck. I don't have the card for it that I want, which is the Hell Crown. I'm experimenting with the thought of making a deck that summons a lot of characters as the fight goes on, even if they're cheapies, and that basically is that a high attack character is wearing the Hell Crown, and as all these cheapies keep dying, the Hell Crown gets beefed up even further and further. Should be fun. Conceivably, if protected properly, you could also maybe do it where a axe is after the Hell Crown person. So if you have two good attackers, put the Hell Crown on one of them who's getting buffed as all the minions die, and then put the axe on the other character who consumes the Hell Crown character. Could be a ridiculous stunt. I don't know. I haven't tried the Axe Hell Crown combo yet, as I don't even have the Hell Crown. It might be an absolutely awful idea. You want to try and run Black Widow as your hero whenever you're doing this, just for the flair. And hopefully the hero ability that you get is the Intelligence one. The Cloaked one isn't really going to do you any good, because nobody is cloaked, and god damn it. Alright, Skrull Soldiers, Iron Maiden. So, when Iron Maiden's out on the field, if I was to keep Hush Now in my hand, she's going to get a little bit of a buff. I think I will do it for one round, just to show you what it's like. See, she got +1. She's up at 5. Could have used the Hush Now on the field, but also could have used it on her. She might actually be really, really good if Elektra was one of my cards, thereby using the quest cards to count towards her. That is that's a distinct possibility. However, I use Elektra's decks, the quest decks, so little, I would really have to research how to build a good quest deck to take advantage of that. But that might be a super handy way to go. Because she'll be strong while the quests build and are active. And then maybe later on when you don't have use for her anymore, the quests are completed, so you just chuck her out. So, unfortunately, yeah, we didn't get the right one. I could go with that, or gain 1 battle gem when your character star boost. May as well go with that. And there it goes. Bob's your uncle. It's right on the first one. Okay. Here we go. So, that is a key component right there. So now if I pull down a non-character card, example, this Hush Now, she gets a boost, so I'm going to keep it in my hand. And we're going to stay with the rest of the gems we've got. So now she's going to get another boost again. She's up at 16. Because she's a 2-star. So, 14, 16 damage at this stage of the game, it's, it's pretty good. Hush Now weakens them a little bit. Alright, pretty close. If I had the other Hush Now, might have pulled it off, as he would have gotten a little bit weaker, but then again, she would have been a little bit weaker. Red Room Trading is key. That's her 1 buff per session. I'm going to take Falcon and cycle him into her. Drop him back out there. Hydra Bombardment. There's part of the control factor. I want to get rid of Absorbing Man. Put him there. And I'm going to pull down Shocky Sticks. Simply because it is a card that feeds Iron Maiden now. Hydra Bombardment's pretty good to pull early on, as you're likely going to have some Swiss cheese holes in the enemies, and that's, just solid damage going out. Now the intelligence should start kicking in. Alright, so I'm going to take Shuri, cycle Shuri into my guard. Put her back out on the field. Gaining health is good. So what sucks about things like Red Room is that they will not give you intelligence on the turn they drop. They actually need to be on the field at the time your store cards come out. Now, this guy is below me, so dropping Natasha's not really going to help that much. Pull down that Hush Now, because that will bump her up a little bit. Asp is going to go when I drop Natasha, so bumping her up isn't really going to help much. Yeah, I'll pull down a Ross just in case. Alright. So watch what's going to happen to Black Widow's damage here. Up to 43. And that's because of having the Drax Intelligence, the Shocky Sticks, and the Hush Now in my hand. This is so bad of a deck, the police are coming to get me. And that poor guy is out. So now we're going to start generating 2 intelligence. Since we are in the top 3, oh, hey, Spy's Ball. Yeah, let's weaken that Ultron. Now, we're going to get rid of her. And we're going to drop Natasha. And let's weaken that Thor. Now, I could have gone for the Ultron to get more intelligence over there. But it's not like we've got a Widow Snipe or anything at the moment. So, that's not exactly necessary. The tactics are full. But keeping these cards bump her up. Now, you'll see Red Room Training is over here, so we should make a choice. Let's go ahead and get rid of one of the Hush Nows. Pull down Red Room Training, as it's more intelligence. Let's get a gun on Ross, so he sticks around a bit more. There we go. So her damage almost doubled because of the cards sitting in my hand, and that's the intelligence cards and the non-character cards. Our nice little guard over there is just doing a good job of keeping damage away from everybody else. And Claw and Ross are helping each other out. Another person down. So we have some intelligence over here. I'm going to put Negabands on them. Pull that down in case we starburst it. Huh, and there it is. There's the starburst. That's not too... That's a pretty cheap guard over there, but it's doing well. Wow. Very interesting. We don't have any Guardians. Base will pick Mjolnir. Again, we're just buffing up Black Widow at this point. A goat suit for him will do good. Could pull down Falcon in case I starburst. And if my hand gets too big, I'll just chuck him. Actually, I think I'll do that. Alright, we'll stay put with this. Yeah, I really would like to see Black Widow's interaction with Electra quests. So that Jessica and that Hood are going to be a bit of an issue. Little unlucky with the intelligence. However, we weakened Electra, who's a crit. So that's actually not too bad. Good bomb. Good hit. So there you go. There is an intelligence deck. How that match worked out was good and medium. I'm not going to say it's good and bad. It was good and medium, and I'll explain in just a moment over here. And then that'll be the wrap-up of the video. So, what was good and what was bad about how that match played out for that deck? What was good? Iron Maiden got buffed early and had the electroshock batons on her. That was really, really solid, as she was pretty much the main assassin of the entire deck over there. Lots of Red Room trainings early on. That was pretty good. Medium. One Natasha and one Natasha only. medium. No Mask of Disguise. Good, we pulled a Spy's Ball. That was handy. And then medium, we never progressed into the end game of the deck of going up to Widow's Aim, Dark Star, the Belt, and Black Widow. Also good was the Chitauri guys handling the tanking the whole way through. Sometimes you just get lucky and a little cheesy early guard gets built up enough to handle the big stuff. Really, it's designed for Carol Danvers to do the tanking and put out a little bit of damage with the Negabands. If you don't pull her, Moonstone is really, really good, especially at 4 stars and with Negabands over there. She isn't a guard, but there are some ways of setting her up to do it if you wanted to. You could go as Guardian and give her the shield. Now, the Red Guardian shield would never wind up helping out, because the Red Guardian shield actually doesn't make somebody tank. It's just a regular old shield. So, there you go, guys. There is a intelligence control deck. It is a little jank, but it is kind of fun. And it's one of the only decks that I've ever played with that really pushes the hand size and really fills up my tactic slot. I never had a full tactic slot until that deck. And what's pretty cool about it is early on, you can run the Hydra bombardments for control, but then later on, where you really need to start picking apart harder enemies on the opposite side from you, you just take the bombardments out and you make sure you're decked out with Red Room Training or even Hush Now to continue picking away at your opponents. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think about this intelligence control deck that I've got. If you have any suggestions other than the fact of bumping Darkstar up and Fear itself Black Widow, which is obvious, but that's going to be luck or crafting at that point. So let me know. Have a good one, guys.